Right, to this now. The body representing most big businesses in the country, Business Unity South Africa, has flagged the proposed basic income grant. The grant proposal aims to bring monthly income relief to millions of poverty-stricken South Africans, but there are concerns over whether the basic income grant is cost-effective and meets long-term affordability. Cas Coovadia is the Busa CEO. He joins me now. Cas, thanks indeed for your time. So as I understand it, your members, which are essentially big businesses, feel the basic income grant in the form that it's proposed in is simply unaffordable to the fiscus. Have I got that right?
Yeah, I think that's one issue. We do have concerns about affordability. We think that more work needs to be done to actually bed down the cost of this. We are a country that's got a fiscal crisis. We have an economy that's not really growing. We are rated as a sub-investment grade country, our sovereign rating. And even if we went out to actually borrow money for this, which I don't think we should do, it would come at a significant cost, at a premium cost, because of our ratings downgrade. So we have serious concerns about that. We also have concerns about the sustainability of this. In the long run, the only way, in our view, to address poverty, unemployment, and inequality is to speed up the economic reforms that are needed for government, business, and labor to work together to actually get onto the same page about how we're going to grow our economy, look at some of the low-hanging fruit that we need to work on, and send out a message to investors that we're doing everything we need to do, and we will do, to attract your investment. And on the back of that, we will create and grow our economy and make it as inclusive as possible. I think the other things we need to address is that government needs to jack up its capability to actually deliver services to people: education, health, transport, infrastructure, do that in a cost-effective way. And that in itself begins to actually improve the living conditions of people. And that, together with a sustained economic growth that includes the majority of our people in the economy, is the route to go. To look at a basic income grant, open-ended basic income grant, we believe that we can't afford, and we believe it's not sustainable.
Cas, there are those who would argue that sufficient food and water is perhaps the most basic of needs for every person, so it should be budgeted for before anything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, even budgeting for sufficient food and water is essentially a stopgap measure. Ideally, what we should be doing is we should be ensuring that everybody has the opportunity to earn at least a decent and an honest income and live a decent, comfortable life. Then you don't have to budget for provision of water. You don't have to budget for provision of food, because people will actually provide for themselves. Now, we are a long way from that, but that's what we've got to focus on. And if we don't focus on growing the economy, increasing, deepening and broadening our tax base, and getting as many people as possible in our country into the economy, then we're looking for quick fix, short-term solutions that just cannot be sustainable, particularly within the context of an economy that's not growing and within the context of us already having a serious fiscal deficit.
And if you just look at numbers today, the employment statistics, Cas, showing that about 86,000 jobs were lost in the formal sector. So I guess, you know, as far as that front is concerned, it doesn't look too optimistic. But what form of grants would big business support in the interim? I mean, is there a support structure that big business would support as we lead up to something a bit bigger?
Well, we supported the 350 TERS grants to help people through the pandemic. We believe that specific grants targeted for specific purposes, for specific periods of time, we would support, provided that they are structured properly, provided they are administered properly. We use the most cost-effective mechanisms to actually deliver those grants to people. We would support that. We would support interim measures to actually give people some relief. But we shouldn't, in our view, we shouldn't take the route that says that we need to find some sort of substitution for a long-term, sustainable way to deal with poverty, unemployment, and inequality. We don't believe there is a substitution for the long-term, sustainable way of dealing with that.
So, Cas, before I let you go, a bit of a shift. Today, the finance fraternity losing the chairman of Nedbank, Vasi Naidu. I mean, he was involved in the CEO initiative as the head of the Banking Association. Presumably, you would have also had contact with him. What do you make of his stature and the loss to the fraternity, Cas?
Well, Vasi's loss is absolutely tragic. Vasi was the first Black CEO of a major auditing firm, Deloitte. He's been a champion for transformation in the accounting and auditing fraternity and in business generally. An utter professional. I interacted with him quite a bit when I was at Busa. A true professional, a true patriot of South Africa, and just a beautiful human being. And I heard about his passing earlier today. It was absolutely sad to hear that. Our love and our wishes go out to his wife, to his daughter. We wish them well. Our thoughts and our prayers are with them. And I think the country is much the poorer after Vasi's passing. I will remember him with fondness as both a professional business colleague, but also a very, very good human being who had absolutely the good of the country at heart and was a tremendous patriot to South Africa.
Well, we'll leave it there. Cas Coovadia, Busa CEO. Thanks indeed.